Welcome to Cash in the Cyber Sheets. I'm your host, James Bowers, and together we'll work with business leaders and industry experts to dive into the misunderstood business of cybersecurity and compliance to learn how to start making money from being secure and compliant. Welcome to Cash in the Cyber Sheets. Hey everybody, welcome back to Cash in the Cyber Sheets. I'm your host, James Bowers, Chief Security and Compliance Architect here at Input Output. Very happy to have you back here with us today. And today I'd like to actually jump into some policy issues that we've had. Issues isn't the right word. I guess questions, or the same thing comes up constantly about how to write policies to meet regulatory requirements or to meet all the different requirements. We've got these things out here that we have to make sure we're doing. How do we translate that into policy? And it actually comes up quite a bit. It's not as difficult as it seems. You can definitely psych yourself out with it. You can drive yourself absolutely bonkers trying to figure out how to do this. And a lot of times when we show how to do it, how we structure our policies, we get a little bit of a head scratch and that's it. But that's it. You don't need to overcomplicate these things. So today it's probably not going to be too involved because it's not that complicated, especially once you understand kind of the perspective of it. But we're going to dive into that, how to create your policies, how to create all the different language that you need, and to make sure that it's following all the different requirements that you have, whether that's a regulatory requirement, a framework from a client, anything, how you can actually translate that and not drive yourself nuts doing it. Before we jump into that, please go ahead and click that subscribe button. I'm pointing down like that's where the button is. Wherever it's at, click that like button, click the subscribe. Go ahead and bring some other people in and leave us some comments about things that are working for you, and also any questions that you have and issues that you would like for us to talk about on the show. So let's go ahead and get into it. Writing policies, creating an information security program, putting all that together, it can be extremely daunting if you've never done it before. Getting started really is the most difficult part, and it also gets to be a bit confusing when you've got so many different things that you need to comply with or that you need to address. Say you've got HIPAA that you have to comply with, and you're also going for an ISO 27001, and you have this major client that has NIST requirements, and this other client that has their own set of requirements that they run on a napkin. Whatever it is, you've got all of these different things. It's like a beautiful mind spaghetti map, strings everywhere, trying to figure out how to tie this together. And it can really, a lot of times what it does is it just creates a failure to launch, to where, oh my God, that's so daunting. I'm going to set that aside and come back to it. And you never do. It just sits there. It never gets done. So I want to talk about how it is that we approach it and how we look at it from all of our policies. And this even then segues, that's probably not the best word, but it supports the whole audit process as well. And I'm going to show you how it does this. Boing. Okay. So I'm just going to take a requirement here from the ISO 27001 standard. And this can seem, working these in can seem like a word salad and almost like you're doing, what is that, like a twister game trying to make this work, but it's really not so bad. So let's look at context of the organization. We're just going to look at 4.1, understanding the organization and its context. And If you're going for ISO, this is a core requirement. Now, if you're going for NIST, CSF 2.0, and a lot of others, they've incorporated a lot of these ISO clause requirements because it really helps build the information security program itself. But I digress. Back to 4.1. The requirement is the organization shall determine external and internal issues that are relevant to its purpose and that affect its ability to achieve the intended outcomes of its information security management system. What an absolute mouthful. And I don't want to give anybody grief for writing this. It's hard to write these things, especially when, I don't know, maybe you have a deadline, but it doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. And trying to translate that into policy is where it breaks down. How, how the hell do I do all of that? Well, what I recommend and the way we do it is just basically write that reworded, however you want to word it, as your requirement in your policy. So in our policy, we can just write the organization's purpose, mission, and general objectives and obligations shall be defined so risk, both internal and external, that could affect the organization's business goals and the ISP's objectives can be identified. You know, I just gave ISO a hard time, and then we've got this. It's not a jarble, it's better. In any case, it's really just restating that requirement. Now, in our WISP product that we have, we commingle a little bit of requirement and execution. So control objective and control activity. That's just to shorten things. But in a um, longer, more formal policy, you would state your control objective and you would basically just rewrite that requirement. In any other requirements, once you have the one, just work those in. You could do bullet points, you could do a list, you could, however you want to do it. We have to do this and this and this and this. Then in your control activity area, you just state how you do that. We do this by we identify risk in multiple methods using a pestle analysis, using expert analysis, stakeholder input. We do this in our management reviews, which are annually. We do this in our risk assessments, which are annually. We do this in yada yada yada. Just you're really just going down a list and identifying how you're doing these things. Here's what we have to do. Here's how we do it. And that's really it. These are information security policies. These are business directives. It doesn't need to be a good novel. It doesn't need to be a great read, but it should clearly as you can, clearly identify what is our requirement and how do we do that. All right. Another one here. Let's see. I got it flagged here, so it's easy to pull up in the document, but now my fingers don't want to work. And it actually, I did the pasty thing on the wrong side. Whatever, it got us there. Let's look at organizational roles, responsibilities, and authorities. All right. Another requirement: top management shall ensure that responsibilities and authorities for roles relevant to information security are assigned and communicated within the organization. That's what we have to do. If you break it up, top management needs to assign responsibilities, and we need to communicate that. They need to be relevant to the ISMS. So, what do we do in our policy? Right in our policy, we state top management shall ensure that responsibilities and authorities relevant to the ISP are assigned and communicated. It's basically just rewording it. And then right under that, we identify all the ways we do that. Roles and responsibilities relevant to the ISP are identified within. We point to our appendice. Appendix B, Information Security Program Roles and Responsibilities. It's aptly named. Appropriate communication and reporting lines are established, which shall include what's communicated, how it's communicated, yada, yada, yada. The point is, we just clearly state requirement, clearly state how we're doing that. That way, it's easy to see what are we required to do, our control objective, and then how do we do that. Then when you audit, you can see what are we required to do. Do those requirements match the requirements of all the different applicable standards and frameworks and regulations and client requirements? You can go down a list to check that. If that looks good, then you can move to see, based on what we're doing, our control activities, is it doing the things that those requirements say we have to do? Do those match up? It makes it much easier to put this together, and it makes it much easier to write your policies, get them put together, and when things change, rather than having to come up with this intricate word smithing and restructuring, don't drive yourself nuts. Requirement, action. That's it. That way you can get the policies created, people can understand them, you can audit them, and you can get them done and get back to business. If you want to make it even easier, feel free to reach out to us. We've got an entire written information security plan, all the policies, all the procedures, all the forms, everything put together. And those are constantly being updated from all of the different audits that we go through. They're vetted, they work, and they make implementation and management a lot easier and remove a lot of frustration. Don't drive yourself nuts. I wish you the best with it. Reach out to us if you have any questions. Click that like, click that subscribe, and until next time. Thanks for joining us today. Don't forget, click that subscribe button, leave us a review, and share it with your network. Remember, security and compliance aren't just about avoiding risk. They're about unlocking your business's full potential. So stay secure, stay compliant, and we'll catch you next week on Cash in the Cyber Sheets. Goodbye for now.
Life goes up and it goes down.